confirmation that I'm currently live. Okay. What we have here is eastern region of Han Yunis, Gaza, southern Gaza Strip. Pay attention to this region here. That is airstrike recorded satellite plume from 1. This is eradication, genocide, elimination, complete destruction of what was said to be more safe to be the beginning of this. This is Han Yunis, southern Gaza. We haven't looked anywhere else, and already we're seeing very dramatic changes in the amount of structures that are still left standing. The more ground you see, the less buildings are standing. It is of consequence of being such a direct route from the border that this is Han Yunis. It's being systematically wiped out. How push play. From the 26th to the 10th, from the 26th of December 2023 to the 10th of January 2024. These striking, horrific, dystopian images. If over 65% of Gaza is uninhabitable, nowhere is safe in Gaza. Trying to fit 10,000 people into a hospital, trying to fit 100,000 people more into a refugee camp. You have probably 500,000 people that are sleeping under the open sky. Over 1 million Palestinians can die before any aid is actually given, before any ceasefire is announced again. Trucks are not food. And the people that need it the most are separated by bombing campaigns. These are such traumatic images. It's like they're being just wiped away. This is Han Yunis. This is the region. You see is connected here. Your border. Really striking. Well, I shouldn't say striking. I apologize. Really dramatic shifts in the amount of buildings. Also, these buildings could have had people in them. Undoubtedly had people in them. You can't confirm that over satellite. So there's people under the rubble. People that are never allowed to be saved. Like never given a chance. Because they did not choose this war. Israel has convinced themselves that there are no innocent civilians. There are no innocent bystanders in this war. All men of age will be rounded up and shot. All the women and children will be rounded up and hit with a tank shell. There's barbarism on every side. It's better, but what's happening here is we're hearing 21 to 23,000 deaths, but it's far much higher than this. It's far higher. Just even with the buildings alone that have been destroyed. These look as much as they are part of an air bombing campaign and then bulldozed. Go and look closer. Just being eliminated, building after building. Non Eunice, which was supposed to be safer. Massive, massive differences. See where all these buildings stood, you see their footprints. It look like they just got bulldozed. Just fall into themselves. have lawns, grass, vegetation got wiped out. This is the border road leading to Han Yunis, from east to west. These are striking changes already in the north region. How deeply receding these buildings go from standing to gone. Not shadows, not trick of satellite imagery, it's not a bend. This is termination. Every building has people in it, have people in it. Might still have people underneath it, maybe not alive, because if Israel does what they do and bulldoze the areas, they don't care. Not looking for bodies. Eradication. I'll let it play for another minute. Annihilation. Is this complete annihilation? See here? Airstrike right here. See this building right here. This building gets flattened and turned to smoke. There's rubble now. Wreckage. Rubble. Here. Very shocking, very striking, very systematic. These bombing campaigns are just to give them access, more roads, more space from the buildings for the ground raids to go in, going from several a day to dozens a day, arresting hundreds of people. That's even if they even come across the border, and if they're not just shot dead for being a young male. There are no innocent civilians in this war on Hamas, according to Israel. This is decades of systematic oppression, but just in a few short weeks, we are seeing systematic annihilation. This is tragedy unfolding before our eyes. Time lapse this area, this refugee camp. The refugee camps is also supposed to be safe, not safer. Ja, what? See that? All this darkened areas right here being hit by shells, artillery strikes, tank fire, shells, issues of shells. Peeled back. These are not random airstrikes. These are not airstrikes that are not hitting their marks. Ambulance is struck, it's because it's an ambulance and it's struck, not because a missile went AWOL, or not AWOL, I'm sorry. Another acronym for when these are precision-based strikes. There are no accidents here. Less than 1% maybe. Very high precision. People have to justify these targets, right? If it's an ambulance being struck, that's just sitting there waiting. That ambulance has been sitting there too long. How many hours is an ambulance supposed to be sitting in one place? They're covering a tunnel system. People not know how EMTs work? Of course they stand up for hours on end. Good job. There's been over 100 journalists so far killed from IDF attacks in Gaza Strip. Over 65% of the Gaza Strip is uninhabitable. Even if Gaza is given ceasefire, still have probably 3/4 of the population completely displaced and pulverized. Their homes annihilated for a war they didn't elect or choose. Is Hamas only Palestinians? Are only Palestinians Hamas? What else makes up Hamas? Why is it the Palestinians that suffer? Israel's never going to find another country to have to absorb Palestinian refugees. That's not what they want, and nobody wants that, because you see what Israel does to countries with Palestinians. Egypt doesn't want that. It wants that kind of smoke. The kind of smoke that they're bringing is just terrifying. Opening up front on Lebanon. I shouldn't have to keep making videos based on horrible choices of war. too afraid to pull back on war that's literally in your backyard. Very shocking photos, but you know, we can't see the true damage and scale of this war due to, check this right here, getting closer to northern Gaza. Most of the destruction's taken place. Like right here. Let this play for a minute. It's scary. Really scary. Years, everybody questioning occupation, militarization against people that have less than nothing. The only tunnels that we've seen this week are the ones that those people were digging to the synagogue in New York. There were riots in there trying to pull the cops off and everybody from trying to repair that. Like, that's just so dangerous. You could have all kinds of collapsing because it's like 3 inches of dirt by 2 foot of dirt is like 6 tons of weight. Not no, a little deeper than that, but I think it's 3 by 3. It's just a saturated soil. You're looking at several tons of weight that are suddenly over your back. Especially you're talking about concrete, talking about building structures, roads, bridges, talking about a lot of stress around the area. And you go and dig up its stress point. It is absolutely baffling how much weight and how much danger these people are in by using this unofficial tunnel. Very dangerous. All just to use the synagogue after hours. This COVID tunnel is when they couldn't actually go and use the tunnel. But it's not like a simple walk-through system. It's like you have to crawl through some areas. Like it's rough. And then there's some areas that look like it's professionally made. You have like not barriers, but concrete built up on the walls. We're just talking about tunnels because of course tunnels are related here, but absolutely baffling footage. You just step back for a minute and just see how dangerous this is and how much risk you're taking for all the structures involved in the area. It is massive. The amount of weight displacement to the amount of earth that could be cave in. Too great. No structural, civil engineer would ever authorize a tunnel of such nature. It like just is laughable. You want a tunnel underneath the street? Underneath the street where garbage trucks and stuff run? Which is that weight just can't do it. No amount of concrete or support is going to be withstanding a makeshift tunnel of like huge vehicles driving over top of it. These tunnels, even though they might have looked nice for like 30% of it, it is a lot of pride to take in your work, but it's too dangerous. You don't want to hear about 1,000 people dying in a tunnel because there was a crowd crush tunnel where everybody is panicking already. You have people leaving and coming and going. It's really unfortunate. Now the city's gonna have to inspect and inspect and inspect and inspect, and it's gonna piss everybody off even more than this tunnel closure did. The only tunnel that we know of. There's some really dramatic scenes that are unfolding. Systematic annihilation. Strike after strike. It gets worse. Every every IDF soldier that is killed, it only gets worse. The longer this goes, the more revenge that needs to be taken. No step back. No waiting. No time for. There's no pause. It's tip of the spear. Gotta go in when it's hot. Otherwise, you can't really make your case later as to the damage that you're causing to the region. The people did not choose this life. Area in Honeyunis is probably one of the most striking in that context again. Really don't have to point out too much because it is like here on the southern side, northern Gaza camp. Level buildings just are all over the place. One building falls, that compromises the structural integrity around that class building. Just surges. Okay. I think I will call the video here. Looked at the Gaza Strip, on units specifically, much of northern Gaza, but striking is on units looking very devoid of structures that would allow people to inhabit. It keeps pushing people to the west of Han Yunis, southern to the Rafah crossing, but they still can't do anything. Ceasefire. Fire now, or it's too late. It's already too late. I mean, they're on path for at least 100,000 dead Palestinians. You see the amount that people have died, over 23,000. Think that another third of those have also perished but are underneath the rubble. They're at least looking at 50,000 people. And there's no real way of knowing because Israel doesn't stop allowing for people to properly dig through the rubble. Give them that opportunity. They're hitting places, hitting ambulances, they're hitting first responders, they're hitting journalists. These are not strikes that are an accident. These artillery, missiles, tank shelling, they're not missing, accidentally hitting a hospital full of civilians that are trying to hide, also with doctors and staff. I'm afraid this is going to ramp up more violence than we can possibly comprehend against civilians, because now with these extended raids, hundreds of people a day being arrested and some reportedly being shot, shooting galleries, execution style, with women being separated from the men, as well as with the children. They just, first it was just the men, of age men serving, and it was just any man. And all the women are just left to fend for themselves after the IDF leaves the area. Then a tank shell hits into the room. That tank shell wasn't an accident. Our boys just left that area. It's going to happen when Israel comes to a conclusion, reaches a conclusion that Hamas can also be made up of women. Are they just going to start executing the women that they have on hand? Can't even comprehend that. Just so many women and children already dead. 23,000 people dead. Half of those are women and children. It's a crime. They didn't do anything. Crime was just being Palestinian, being born in a prison. Elaborate prison complex that's being bombarded with missiles, shelling, artillery, destroying any semblance of culture, of structure, of shelter, safety. This is annihilation. This is the most documented case of genocide. I watched a lot of coverage footage and well, in dozens of accounts regarding the Russian invasion of Ukraine. I can't help but see the differences in just how Israel, the IDF, walks with fire. They're just completely just destroying bombarding these regions that they're planning on walking on for raids later. They pick up these raids going from just a few a day to dozens a day. You gotta soften up your targets before you go on foot. It never works out that way. It's the civilians that suffer the most. So much bloodshed. There's not going to be any stop to this. There's no end. It's not about justifying the war anymore. They're not at an impasse. This isn't. This is IDF literally searching for a silver bullet. They're looking for any justification, cause, and it's going to get worse as they get more desperate. They need to find evidence, to find any evidence whatsoever. Rafah is not safe either. Oh, this is Han Yunis here. Medical facility. My different color now on the camera. There we go. Having issues with settings on my camera. I apologize for that. I happen to ADX. Very dramatic scenes unfolding here that are only getting worse with time. I don't know, is it better to see my microphone in the shot? Yeah. I will call the stream here. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. It helps the channel out immensely, and this is a passion project of mine. Not a channel I make money off of or any income. Plans are to do fundraising, eventually. Channel. Thank you.